All right, we are live here at the Coach Billy Napier 2023 Speaking Tour right here in Orange Park with the Clay County Gators. My good friend Brandon Ayers joining me right here on Gators Breakdown. Hey, Brandon.
It's first time on.
First time live stream.
It is.
For me as well.
Really?
On location somewhere.
I love that.
So there we go. So got it going right here with Brandon, letting you guys know about Clay County Gators. But Billy Napier here, 25 years for you guys, right?
It is. It's been 25 years that we've been a club. We're actually the 100th Gator Club in this group and affiliate groups and club groups. So it's been 25 years. We haven't had a sitting coach here. We've had Steve come in a couple times because his parents were charter members of us as well, Steve Spurrier. But yeah, 25 years.
What better way?
It's awesome.
Billy Napier. Awesome. Yep, going to be speaking here in probably hour and a half or so when he'll walk through the doors and get to speak to the Clay County Gators and all the surrounding areas here. But Brandon, let's get to it and what you guys for Clay County Gators do, for the university, for students out there or prospective students of the University of Florida.
Absolutely, yeah. So we are a 501c3. We're a 100% UFA affiliate club. We do all fundraising for our general scholarship fund. So we basically fund anywhere between 9 and 10 scholarships a year with all of our efforts in Clay County and all of the events that we're doing. We're actually springing out and outside of Clay County now. We're getting over to Gainesville, doing some pretty cool things with the F Club last weekend. We did Chomping with Champions and had Major Wright there speaking. We're getting to do things like this. We have our golf tournament coming up April 30th. And it's just a great opportunity. We called it this year kind of the year of the Gator. Like this is the year of Clay Gator over here because we've just been really having a lot of great opportunities. And for UFAA and the boosters to give Clay County a chance to have coach, we're so honored and we're so thankful for our people to be able to come out and do this. I mean, we're a smaller to mid-sized club, and we're going to put 250 people in this room tonight.
That sounds
awesome.
That sounds good. And Brent, talk about some of those events that you were talking about. You guys go to Gainesville for basketball games. You'll take a bus down there, a bus for baseball games that's coming up. So, if you're not a member, if you're around the Jacksonville area, the Orange Park, Clay County, St. Augustine, Middleburg, Keystone, anywhere around Northeast Florida, you can be a part of the Clay County Gators and a lot of these cool events that you guys do.
Yeah, I mean, we started our bus trip about 6 years ago, and it was the first one we'd ever done, and we really didn't know what we were doing. We were like, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to figure this out. It's going to be awesome, and we're going to try. And that thing has turned into something that we are just so proud of because, honestly, we put it up, and it sells out within 24 hours. And we've like, oh, let's switch it and go to 2 buses. And we're like, no, because we want to keep the production the same. And it's just like, I tell people all the time, I get so excited because it's like I get to do really awesome things with the Clay County Gator Club while helping students, but I also get to bring like 50 or 60 of my coolest friends with me, you know, and that's like what we love to do. We get all the good and we get to have fun doing the Gator stuff.
So, Billy Napier going to be speaking to the club tonight. And, if non-members, if you're listening to this now, you still got a little while to get here. You walk in and
absolutely, we'll take you. We may not be able to give you food because I think we only bought for $250, and we're there. We got a lot of walk-ups tonight, but you know what? Come out, you can take part. We got a sea of wall of orange and blue, and we got a nice green grass wall over there to take photographs underneath and neon cool stuff. I mean, it's just this is a combination of just amazing amounts of dedication and work by CCGC.
One more thing, Brandon, I'll let you go so you can go mingle with the club members. Billy Napier. Going into year 2, year 1, ups and downs, big win to start off with, and then inconsistent season. But of course, speaking here tonight, what are you looking forward to hearing, and what are you looking forward in year 2 for Billy Napier?
Yes, I think it's all for me. It's expectations, right? We've set these expectations of our coaching staffs in the future to just come out and start winning national championships. You don't build a home without having a concrete foundation. And you got to build the walls and the roof and everything else. And that's really what I'm wanting to hear from him is where are we at in that phase, right? Where are we at? We got the foundation done. Hopefully the walls are up. Now let's go out. We got that DB room popping off. We got a great quarterback coming in next year. So where are we at? We got insulation. We got plumbing. Where are we at?
Yeah, there we go. And hey, this might be a patient hire. I mean, look, behind the scenes, you hear a lot. I hear a lot. Things could be going on better in that aspect of it. Of course, it means wins and losses are what matters, but maybe a patient hire. And like you said, he's got to build it up that way. And like you said, I think we'll hear a good bit about that process.
I mean, changing gears a little bit and kicking it over to the NCAA basketball stuff that we're just getting through now with the Final Four and all that. I mean, you look at FAU. That was a patient hire, and they took them to the promised land there. So I think patience pays and we can get there. I think this hire is the right hire, because you can have a great football coach, but if you got a better person in that spot, your university and everything else that you do, because we're not just a football school, we're an everything school and top 5 university and all that. If you got a great person in that spot that's going to help all that, and still get our wins and losses figured out, because we definitely need more wins than we do losses, but you have that, I think that foundation I talked about is just going to get better and better over time.
Yeah. Brandon,
I believe that.
Yeah, I've had a great relationship with you guys. Coming speaking at your events and stuff. Let everybody out there know if they're in the Northeast Florida area, not that far of a drive, how they can help you guys and join Clay County Gators.
Absolutely, yeah. Our general scholarship fund is our main goal, right? And every event that we do, we have solid goals that we set for those to be able to help these kids that are going to the University of Florida from Clay County and from other places too. Because really, the thing is with our scholarship is, as long as you have a member and a sponsor in Clay County Gator Club that is a member here or a sponsor here, you can actually apply for that scholarship as well. So we help kids that are going to the University of Florida. That's our main goal. And the way that we have done that, and the way that we figured out how to do that, is through amazing events with our amazing friends and family here at Clay County Gator Club. So if you want to find us on all the socials. We're at Facebook, of course. We have our Instagram page. We have our Twitter pages. You find us anywhere around, and we definitely would love to have you come out and be part of what we're doing here.
Absolutely. Brandon, thank you, man. Go have fun.
You.
Go have fun. Big night for you, man. Big night.
It is. And I just want to say so thankful to you for coming out. I mean, you remember we came out to some of your first events,
right.
Man, and we've been a supporter of yours for a long time.
We've been kind of growing together these last few years.
I tell you what, I mean, and there's no better person I'd want to grow with, man. Your podcast is always top notch. I love the way you do things. I thank you so much for coming out here, man. I appreciate you very much. You know that. You're my guy.
All right, Brandon Ayers.
Thank you, guys. Go Gators.
Clay County Gators right here joining us on Gators Breakdown. So, all right, there we go. As I said, or in the title of the episode, we are going to have some Q&A. I asked my Gator Breakdown Plus members for some questions. Let me readjust here before we get started. But yeah, a lot of questions sent my way, and there, much better. Just getting that out of the view. Won't be all the lights and the setup I have on the home studio if you're watching us on YouTube, watching us live. But yeah, so let's get into some questions about spring practice so far before I let you guys go. Kind of unique episode here of Gators Breakdown. As I mentioned, Gators Breakdown Plus members sent in questions for this, kind of help me fill some time here as we get there. I will be speaking not here live on this, but to Coach Napier in just a bit at a media session before he speaks to the Clay County Gators here. So let's get to it. Mr. Burgers, with the success of the running game last year, is there room for it to be even better? Obviously losing a couple pieces on the line, but now it seems like we have more depth along with the running back room seems to be deeper. You anticipate improvement in that aspect of the offense when it was already better than we thought. That's a good question. This run game, it can get better. It absolutely can get better. And, I shared it when we were talking about the running backs not long ago, about, what the difference was in wins and losses. And I wish I had that graphic still up. But, of course, it was the yards per carry and the losses were 4 yards less, I think, than it was in the wins. So, of course, and that was counting Montreal Johnson and Trevor Etienne. That wasn't counting Anthony Richardson's numbers. That wasn't counting anybody else. We're just looking at those two running backs. Those are the two guys that return, coming up this year. So, of course, I think, focused on those guys and, what they could probably do to improve. And look, Trevor Etienne, of course, true freshman, burst onto the scene. Montreal Johnson, he has been tearing it up this spring. A lot of big-time runs, a lot of long-distance runs for him this spring. Both running backs, of course. But now you add Cam Carroll. Now you add Trayon Webb. Gives you a pretty deep running back room. Now you don't have to force Trayon Webb in there. If he goes out there and earns his carries, he's earned it because he's out there competing with a Montreal Johnson and a Trevor Etienne and Cam Carroll. Everybody, look, that highlight of the scrimmage last week, there's a number 27, and he's running over people. And that's not Damian Pierce. That's Cam Carroll out there running over, making Miguel Mitchell, a starting safety there for the Gators, miss a tackle. So, big time move there. So this running back room is, I think, in some ways maybe even deeper this year than it was last year when we were looking at it, when you had DeMarcus Bowman and Lorenzo Lingard, and we were wondering how, they would fit in with Montreal Johnson. And we didn't even know about Trevor Etienne a year ago and what he was going to become. So I do think the four Florida has this year are pretty deep, but maybe more consistency. There were in the losses last year, the Florida run game, the LSU game, it comes to mind when besides the Montreal Johnson long run for a touchdown, run game was pretty much shut down versus Vanderbilt later on in the season. I mean, so there are games where you like to see a little more consistency and maybe even more 5-6 yard runs instead of the big runs and then all the rest of the runs go for 2-3 yards. Not a lot of tackles for loss. I'll give them credit there, but maybe a little more consistency in the 5, 6, 7 yard range and set up easier conversions, because there was also translate that to there were too many times last year when Florida, it may be 4 down territory, but it's 3rd and 2 and that run goes nowhere, setting up a must go get 4th down. So maybe even some situational running, better 3rd down running, go convert that 1st down and not have to rely on you're doing it on 4th down. I think is another aspect this run game can get a little bit better in. But I'm excited for it. The offensive line, of course, is going to come into play too. We'll see what happens with Micah Mazuka and how fast he can return. We've talked about the offensive line a lot the last couple of weeks, especially because of the injuries and the transfer news there of Mazuka. But at the same time, there's plenty of depth there. I think, as long as those guys stay healthy as well, as long as this Florida offensive line doesn't take a huge step in the injury category, I still think they're okay in leading this run group. And of course, hopefully, we can have a quarterback that can open up some running lanes for them by completing some passes and making defenses worry about the pass a bit more and not having to stack those box. If you can't stack the box versus this running game, start adding those big carries and those 6-7 yard carries together instead of those big carries and 1, 2, 3 yard carries. So I think 3rd down running, better situational running, be a little more consistent in the 5, 6, 7 yard range and start busting those runs a bit more. I think, and let me not forget, don't want to forget this one, pass catching ability for the running backs. Can we see that unlocked with maybe even a quarterback that can hit that a bit more? When we did see Anthony Richardson check down last year, there was a lot of success there. Can we see that on a more consistent basis with a Graham Mertz, Jack Miller, Max Brown? I do think the running backs being used in the passing game, even by design, may be a bit more this year. Maybe more part of the offense as long as the quarterbacks are there to get them to it in that design. So I am looking for just an all-around improvement year 2 under Billy Napier to learn more of these players, what he has. Of course, he knows what he has in Montreal Johnson, knows what he has in Trevor Etienne. You can build on that, and I think building in the passing game can help there as well. So, all right, let's go to Chach. Does someone like Russ Callaway, who comes from the air raid, have any input on scheme going forward? That's something I do want to probably ask behind the scenes a bit more. Of course, I think he certainly is involved, but he was on the staff last year as well. So I'm not so sure now being the tight end coach how much more input he would have in scheming and maybe play calling, maybe coming up with the game plan during the week. Certainly with his offensive coordinator resume and throwing the ball all over the place at the FCS level, there's something to unlock there and get his opinion about in building this offense. I'm sure that's part of the reason Billy Napier brought him in to begin with. So I do think if you can take advantage of Callaway and his football background and his background in calling plays and throwing the ball all over the field, absolutely. I think if you find one of your quarterbacks are capable of that and opening up this offense, then you bring in Callaway at the same time to kind of hone his passing concepts that he was able to have a lot of success with as an offensive coordinator. All right, let's keep it going. The Big Master says kind of a general question, but relates to the current quarterback battle. How much arm talent are you willing to sacrifice in order to have a mobile quarterback? Or should we always stick with the superior passer? Ooh, that's a good one. We'll go back and forth a little bit on that one. So with Napier, of course, last couple of quarterbacks, Levi Lewis, Anthony Richardson, athletes, can run and throw. Now, probably average throwers, really good athletes. Anthony Richardson, elite athlete. But if you have more, and I guess if you're maybe taking a look at the current quarterback battle, now I do think a Graham Mertz, a Jack Miller, certainly Max Brown, very athletic. He's very athletic. I think Miller is athletic. Mertz is athletic. Not to the effect of Anthony Richardson, of course, or even a Levi Lewis that Billy Napier had at Louisiana his last few years. It's a very interesting question because I guess of the type of offense Napier wants to run. And I think if you base it on the 49ers offense, just say, give me a quarterback that can make that pass first, especially with this run game that Florida has with the running backs and the offensive line. You can let them carry that. And I don't know if you can go get the perfect package. Of course, that's better. And I think that's what we're getting with DJ Lagway, coming up for the 24 quarterback. That's where it's going. He is a both. He is a passer and a runner. I mean, you're getting the total package in a DJ Lagway. But, going to the question here, how much arm talent are you willing to sacrifice in order to have a mobile quarterback? For me, none. I go, at least for this quarterback battle, I say give me the guy with the better arm because of the run game that you have behind him. Now, that's where I go with it. I think too many times last year we saw, just because of the lack of arm talent at times from Anthony Richardson, the offense would just sputter. Now, of course, that's when you'd hope the running game would take over, and at times it did last year, but at times it didn't. That's when Florida would get into the late first half and not be able to do much, or early second half and not be able to do much. Well, now, hopefully that run game is taking a step in Billy Napier's second year. And I think you go with the quarterback that can keep the chains moving on with this offense. I said, give me the guy who's the better passer this time around. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think that he went with the better passer last time. I still think Anthony Richardson's a better quarterback than Jack Miller, just based on arm talent still. So last year he went with the guy who can move better and the guy who can pass better. This year it may be Graham Mertz may still be, all in all, still a better passer than the other two. Not quite the athlete as a Max Brown, but Max Brown doesn't make up the gap, with his athleticism to take over the arm talent of a Graham Mertz. That's how I think it shakes out. But, it may be where Billy Napier goes with, just because of what we've seen recently, goes with the athleticism instead. And just I see the chat going on, and just because we're talking quarterbacks right here, is Austin Simmons from Peyton Roddenball. Let me see. Yep. Okay. Is Austin Simmons reclassifying the 2023? That is the 2025 quarterback right now, Austin Simmons. But there is some talk that maybe possibly that could come down the road. He already has his high school credits. He's already taken college-like courses. He would be in line to reclassify the 2023 if he wants to. So certainly a storyline to follow in the recruiting world. All right, let's go to Swagadelic right here on Gators Breakdown Plus. This should be a fun one. Who are your top two freshmen that you think will play a large role, like break into the two deep this upcoming year? Top true freshmen. There we go. Two deep. Okay. You got to go receiver first, right? You got to throw an Andy Jean out there. You got to throw an Aiden Mizell out there. I think at times those guys will be on the two deep. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Trayon Webb at running back. I know we know ETN, Montrell Johnson. That's not a shot at Trayon Webb, by the way. So, I don't see it there on defense. Hey, certainly in the secondary, you have true freshmen already on the two deep at safety already. Just because of the numbers and the transfers away there, safety is filled with them. So your Bryce Thorntons and your Jordan Castell, who has been playing pretty well this spring as a true freshman, is somebody I think to look out for. He's already on the two deep. already on the 2 deep for safety. So just by default, it's there for just for the secondary. So can you bring somebody like a Dejon Johnson at maybe the nickel spot as a true freshman? I think that's certainly a possibility. Maybe even one of the corner spots. Jakeem Jackson, he's already on the 2 deep. He's cornerback 3 right now, maybe even cornerback 2 right now. So absolutely, I mean, Jakeem Jackson, the receivers, a Jordan Castell, those are the ones that probably come to mind a little bit first for me as far as that goes. Now, defensive line, that was one I'd find interesting. Could you see a Kelby Collins, a TJ Searcy? Because of the transfers, defensive tackle, you only really brought in Will Norman. He's not going to crack the 2 deep there on the interior at this moment, I wouldn't think, but no shot at him really either, of course. But I could see an edge. But now you have Princely. If you check out one of the most recent episodes of Gators Breakdown, he's moving to edge now. So it gives you a little bit of depth there with Powell Ryland and Umandiela. And okay, there's your top 2. Don't see anybody breaking through there unless some injuries happen there. So, I do see it. Wide receiver, of course. I think it happens there. Safety, I do see it there as well. Those are the positions I'd be looking for at that time. Swagger also says, who are your early candidates for breakout players on offense and defense, any class? Oh, guys, I'm walking right into this one, but breakout player, Arliss Boardingham at the tight end position. You can tell even before the spring, I was a little high on Arliss Boardingham at the tight end position, and I'm going to keep it there. He's going to be a breakout player for this Gator offense, for this Gator team, right there at the tight end position. Absolutely, I think he's one. He's the one I'm pointing to. And also Jake Slaughter along the offensive line. I'm trying to go through names I even previewed, even coming into spring practice, and he is one that absolutely I think he's going to be maybe, I don't know, quite that high as what we saw from Austin Barber last year. Probably not, but a name I think we'll see plenty along the offensive line in relief for some other players, and maybe even starting some games along the way as well. So Austin Barber, Jake Slaughter along the offensive line, a breakout player. Arliss Boardingham, there's my 2. There's 2 for offense, and I kind of maybe even already went through it a bit on the defense. Is Shamar James cheating? I mean, all SEC, but maybe even elevating that a bit more, where I think he's going to be an SEC breakout player, not a freshman breakout player. He is going to have every opportunity at the linebacker spot to be a breakout player. I think he's going to be one. Chris McClellan's another one. I expect a huge jump from those 2 true freshmen last year, Shamar James and Chris McClellan. Absolutely. I do think probably taking the easy way out there a bit. But yeah, I'm gonna label those 2 breakout players, and I am going to put it on a true freshman as well. I do think we see a lot from Jakeem Jackson, the cornerback, whether he breaks cornerback. Devin Moore kind of nursing that injury, that shoulder injury, a little bit limited through contact throughout spring. I certainly could see him breaking out as a true freshman. So eager to see that. Going through what we're hearing in the spring and him creating turnovers there for this defense all throughout spring practice as a true freshman. So, all right, there we go. One more from Poetzer. I won't go too deep into this one because we got some time. We got some time for this one, kind of going towards the season. But over under 8 wins in 2023. What are you taking? He goes, I'm on under. He says, give him the under at 6.5. Okay, so he's thinking about 6 wins there for the Gators. Over under for 8 right now. Man, 8's about where I'm at. That's the crazy thing. I'm at now just because of what Florida has on the roster and all the youth. If I go 8 and there's over under, I probably right at this moment, don't kill me for this, would probably go under. Only because I'd see 7 more likely than 9. That's probably where I'd lean on that, but I think 8's probably that sweet spot number. I think the thing's going okay for Florida, but plenty of time for that to get into that. So one more from Peyton Roddenball before I got to go. It's getting loud in here and got to go do the Napier press conference beforehand. Khalil Jackson, does he get more reps this year? I do think so. It's a podcast. Yes, ma'am. Huh? From Channel 4 News for Jackson is going live on YouTube right now. Okay.
But you didn't come that last week.
No, I didn't. Nope.
You should have been there.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let me finish up right here. Okay, right? Okay, thank you. All right, and Clayton Roddenball wants to know, Khalil Jackson get more reps this year. That is somebody, Jack Miller pointed out as a player. And I've seen a few highlights here and there, and, maybe he could crack the rotation. I mean, because, look, wide receiver position, there's some chance, right? There's absolutely some chance. So Khalil Jackson, a lot because he is.
How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm gonna get a picture later.
Okay, sounds good. He goes as a. How you doing, man? And getting some hellos too. So got to go mingle a bit too for here. But yeah, Khalil Jackson, I can see wide receiver position, absolutely a place where anybody can make headway behind a Pearsall, Henderson, Caleb Douglas, Jaquavion Frazier's. There's some room there. Besides Pearsall, I think there's some moves even with the experienced guys. But you got some freshmen here that I think is going to push that group, as we've mentioned all spring long. Maybe even a chance for a Khalil Jackson, maybe to get some reps out there. So I do think there's a chance for more reps right there for Khalil Jackson as a starter. Probably not, but I could see him, maybe 15, maybe stretching, get 20 range, maybe. But yeah, I think there is an opportunity just because of what Florida has for depth at the position of wide receiver. So, all right, there we go. Let me go get ready for Billy Napier speaking to the media and go say hello to a lot of people walking in here. Everybody, thanks for impromptu. I didn't know what the internet situation was going to be like here, so I didn't want to pub this too much just in case it didn't work. But glad on short notice that you guys were able to hop in right here and check out Brandon and what these guys are doing here for the Clay County Gators. Big night for them with Billy Napier coming to speak to the club and fellow Gator fans around the area, and also all these questions that came flying in from Gators Breakdown Plus members. Go join if you haven't done so yet. Link will be in the description, of course, to join Gators Breakdown Plus. But that would do it right here for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Everybody, thanks for hopping on.